Greetings and thank you for watching Electric City Video. This is Frank Etheridge, your editor, appearing off camera to be safe and socially distanced from a friend and special guest, Sherricka Day. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. We're here at the Military Library on Veterans, 4th Avenue. We're here to talk to Sherricka about your blog you started, and it's called Kinfolx Corner. What inspired you to do that?
So I've been just trying to find stories to tell for a while, and honestly, I've worked on a couple of projects with other organizations that talked about like the history and the culture in Columbus, and so it was probably a few months ago where I was just kind of brainstorming and trying to figure out um, how can I keep those narratives being told and putting that out there. And so Kinfolx Corner has come up a few times in the conversations that I've had. And so I got with some friends and we did some brainstorming and just came up with Kinfolx Corner. Obviously, that's, past history that has helped to mold Columbus, but trying to push that forward through Kinfolx Co. And so I just felt like a blog would be a good way to do that through social media.
Cool. What is the significance of Kinfolx Corner to Columbus?
To Columbus. So, Kinfolx Corner was a hangout spot for blacks back in the day. And a lot of them went there, the farmers, people from all around to gather. In my imagination, I would say that they were sharing, their stories, ups and downs, just what was going on with their life. And it was a meeting area. And so when you talk to people, especially from like back in the day, they talk about how their grandparents, their aunts and uncles would go down there and talk and hang out. And so all of that is significant to just the fabric of Columbus.
Yeah. And was the starting this blog, was that timed to Black History Month? Was that
So the funny thing is, it started kind of around like the fall.
Okay.
And just kind of progressed. And then by the time, I guess, all the ideas started to fall into place, it fell right in line with Black History Month.
Okay, since we're here, obviously, at Military Library, we're actually standing, you're standing behind a mural by Najee Dorsey, as the
Yes.
artist commissioned it. And you also researched and wrote about military, the history of this library. What can you tell us about that?
So Najee is a good friend of mine, and watching this process kind of beginning to end just was amazing. He had conversations with the community. He wanted to do an art piece that would capture the neighborhood, the history around the library and just surrounding areas, and still push the Black narrative in Columbus. And so I don't know if I need to step back some, but I mean, it's a huge mural, but if you look at it, you can see like different elements that shaped the areas around it, as well as the significance of the library.
Yeah, and I love what she wrote about it sort of being a youth movement that
Yeah.
got things started, kids protests
Right,
with sit-ins.
right.
It's all important. We learned all this stuff. Was there anything that stands out to you as the most like surprising thing or most interesting thing you learned?
For me, I think sometimes taken for granted the access to education. And so, of course, I know that there was a journey to get there, that blacks were denied, access to like the basic areas of learning that we're used to today. But what really stood out to me was I don't think I ever really realized that the education for blacks back in the day stopped at middle school. And so like high school, they were having to go to universities like Tuskegee and other areas if they had the money to go get that additional education. And so it wasn't until Spencer High School was formed that blacks were able to continue their high school education. And that just kind of stood out to me as like, wow, and because now obviously education is it's kindergarten through 12. So I was really fascinated by that.
Well, since you bring that up, I know you're a product of the local school system here. Do you think you were adequately educated on Black history coming up?
No, I do not think I was adequately educated. A lot of the education that I've learned about Black history has come, after school. So I have always kind of been like, oh, I didn't know that, almost embarrassed that so a lot of things are not taught. We were taught, kind of the basic people that were significant to Black history. So Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Booker T. Washington, but a lot of the newer, or I can't even say newer, but a lot of the people that founded different inventions and things I had no clue about. Even like living in Columbus, I went to school. My family was military, but we moved here when I was in the fifth grade. And for as long as I can remember, I don't remember hearing anything about Ma Rainey until like in the last few years.
Right.
So I find that fascinating, that we aren't taught a lot of the local heroes and people that were significant to Black culture.
Okay, so I want to wrap up with this final question. That is, ask your opinion. Having done this, you can look and there's a difference in the old historical markers around town, which a lot of times focus on Civil War and older history, and you can see the newer ones, which a lot of times focus on civil rights and local African American figures, Horace King, Primus King, Dr. Brewer. Do you think there's a change in the way we're understanding history and presenting history in Columbus?
I believe so. I think we still have like a long way to go. Obviously, there are some historical figures that we kind of, almost like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, like they just kind of embedded in our culture. And then we're learning some new ones and giving more recognition to people that made a difference in our community now. So it is good to see that more and more people are being recognized, and that information is being taught to us, and we can pass it on so that those names are appreciated and preserved in the history of Columbus.
Yeah, and also presenting a more diverse and more inclusive
Right.
version of history.
Exactly, because it's just not always about, obviously, civil rights leaders are very important. Everybody that made a difference to pave the way for the life that we have today. But a lot of times, I think some of the smaller or less known individuals are not given as much credit. And that could just be because people just didn't know. And so that's like what I'm trying to do with Kinfolx Co. is get those stories out and get those messages told, so that we are more aware of the people and the places that shaped our culture.
Okay. Well, I certainly have been enjoying your blog, and if people want to keep up with it, they can find it on Facebook and Instagram of Kinfolx Co. with an X. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Sherricka, well, thank you for all your work in presenting our history. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.